The year 1947 marked the end of the British Empire in India. After nearly 2 centuries of colonial rule, the British finally departed, leaving behind a land yearning for freedom and self-governance. The departure was not just a political event, it was a moment of immense emotional and cultural significance for millions of Indians who had long fought for their independence. It also marked the birth of 2 new nations, India and Pakistan. The joy of independence was palpable in the air as people celebrated the dawn of a new era. Streets were filled with jubilant crowds, and the tricolour flag of India and the crescent and star of Pakistan were hoisted high, symbolizing newfound sovereignty. The partition, however, was a bloody affair. The subcontinent was divided along religious lines, leading to one of the largest mass migrations in human history. Families were torn apart, and communities that had lived together for centuries found themselves engulfed in violence and chaos. Millions were displaced as Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs found themselves on the wrong side of the newly drawn borders. Makeshift refugee camps sprang up, filled with people who had lost everything. The human cost of partition was staggering, with countless lives lost and an enduring legacy of pain and trauma. Communal violence erupted, leaving a scar on the subcontinent's soul. The streets ran red with blood as neighbours turned against each other, driven by fear and hatred. The violence was not just physical, but also psychological, leaving deep wounds that would take generations to heal. The partition sowed the seeds of mistrust and animosity between India and Pakistan. The newly formed nations, instead of finding peace, found themselves embroiled in a bitter rivalry. The border became a symbol of division, a line that separated not just territories but also hearts and minds. Both nations inherited the legacy of a colonial past, their relationship further strained by unresolved territorial disputes. The shadow of British rule loomed large, influencing their political and social landscapes. The struggle for resources, power, and identity became a central theme in the early years of their independence. The most contentious of these disputes was the fate of Kashmir, a princely state with a Muslim-majority population coveted by both India and Pakistan. The strategic and symbolic importance of Kashmir made it a flashpoint for conflict. Both nations laid claim to the region, leading to a protracted and bloody struggle. The conflict over Kashmir, along with other unresolved issues, cast a long shadow over the relationship between the 2 fledgling nations. Diplomatic efforts were made, but the mistrust ran deep, and the wounds of partition were still fresh. The dream of peaceful coexistence seemed increasingly elusive. Border skirmishes became commonplace, each incident further deepening the divide. The line of control in Kashmir became a hotspot for military engagements, with both sides fortifying their positions. The constant state of alert and the frequent clashes took a toll on the soldiers and civilians alike. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the mettle of both India and Pakistan. The build-up of military forces on both sides of the border signaled an impending conflict. The air was thick with tension, and the world watched anxiously as the 2 nations edged closer to war. The war that erupted in 1965 was a culmination of years of simmering tensions. It was a brutal conflict marked by fierce battles and significant casualties. The war tested the resolve and capabilities of both nations, leaving a lasting impact on their military and political landscapes. It was a war that neither side could truly afford, yet one that both felt compelled to fight. The cost of the conflict was immense, both in terms of human lives and economic resources. The war ended in a stalemate, but the underlying issues remained unresolved, setting the stage for future confrontations. The partition of British India in 1947 was a tumultuous event. It led to one of the largest mass migrations in human history. Millions of Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs were uprooted from their ancestral homes. They were forced to cross newly created borders, often facing violence and hardship along the way. The partition was based on the flawed premise of dividing the subcontinent along religious lines. This decision ignored the intricate tapestry of cultures and communities that had coexisted for centuries. It created deep divisions and sowed the seeds of future conflicts. The issue of princely states further complicated the partition process. These states, ruled by local monarchs, were given the option to join either India or Pakistan. Kashmir, with its Muslim-majority population but a Hindu ruler, became a focal point of contention. The hasty and ill-planned partition left behind a legacy of pain, displacement, and mistrust. It created a volatile environment where future conflicts could easily ignite. Kashmir, nestled in the Himalayas, became a bone of contention between India and Pakistan. This picturesque region, often referred to as Paradise on Earth, is renowned for its stunning landscapes, snow-capped mountains and lush valleys. However, its beauty belies a turbulent history marked by conflict and strife. The princely state, with its breathtaking beauty and strategic importance, was claimed by both nations. The allure of Kashmir was not just its natural splendor, but also its geopolitical significance, lying at the crossroads of Central and South Asia. This made it a coveted prize for both India and Pakistan, each eager to assert their dominance in the region. In 1947, as Pakistan faced an invasion by tribal militias backed by its army, the Maharaja of Kashmir, Hari Singh, acceded to India in exchange for military assistance. This decision was not made lightly. It came after much deliberation and under immense pressure. The Maharaja hoped that aligning with India would bring stability and security to his troubled state. This accession, however, was contested by Pakistan, leading to the First Kashmir War from 1947 to 48. The conflict was brutal and intense, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The war left deep scars on the region and its people, setting the stage for decades of hostility and mistrust. The war ended with the United Nations brokered ceasefire, leaving Kashmir divided along a line of control. This demarcation was meant to be a temporary solution, but it soon became a de facto border, symbolizing the unresolved nature of the conflict. The line of control remains one of the most heavily militarized zones in the world, a constant reminder of the fragile peace. This unresolved dispute continued to be a major flashpoint between India and Pakistan. Over the years, numerous skirmishes and military standoffs have occurred along the line of control, each incident further entrenching the animosity between the two nations. The people of Kashmir have borne the brunt of this ongoing conflict, living under the shadow of uncertainty and fear. In the years leading up to 1965, tensions over Kashmir escalated. Both India and Pakistan engaged in a series of provocative actions, each trying to assert their claim over the region. The situation became increasingly volatile, with frequent clashes and a growing sense of impending war. Pakistan launched Operation Gibraltar, an attempt to infiltrate and incite an insurgency in Indian-administered Kashmir. The plan was ambitious, aiming to destabilize Indian control and rally local support for Pakistan. However, the operation did not go as planned. The local population did not rise in rebellion as expected, and the Indian military responded with decisive force. This operation, however, failed to gain traction and instead provided India with a casus belli for a full-scale war. The conflict that ensued was marked by fierce battles and significant losses on both sides. The War of 1965 further entrenched the division of Kashmir and deepened the hostilities between India and Pakistan. The Kashmir issue became a symbol of the larger conflict between India and Pakistan. It represented not just a territorial dispute, but also the broader struggle for identity, sovereignty, and regional dominance. The conflict over Kashmir has shaped the political landscape of South Asia, influencing the policies and actions of both nations. It highlighted the deep mistrust and animosity that existed between the two nations, making a peaceful resolution seem like a distant dream. Despite numerous attempts at dialogue and negotiation, the Kashmir conflict remains unresolved, a testament to the enduring complexities and challenges of achieving lasting peace in the region. As Section 4, war erupts, a nation mobilizes. In response to Operation Gibraltar, India launched a counter-offensive across the international border in September 1965. This marked the beginning of the Second Indo-Pakistani War, a conflict that would last for 17 days and grip the attention of the world. India's initial thrust was aimed at Lahore, Pakistan's cultural capital. The Indian army, supported by tanks and artillery, made significant advances, capturing strategic positions. Pakistan retaliated with its own offensive in the Cham-Jowrian sector, hoping to cut off Indian supply lines to Kashmir. The war quickly escalated, with both sides deploying their air forces in support of ground operations. Dogfights between Indian and Pakistani fighter jets became a regular occurrence, with each side vying for air superiority. The conflict also spilled over into the maritime domain, with naval engagements taking place in the Arabian Sea. The 1965 war was a testament to the resilience and determination of both the Indian and Pakistani armies. Soldiers on both sides displayed remarkable courage and fought fiercely, often in challenging terrain and adverse conditions. Section 5. Battles in the Air Nats versus Sabres. The air war between India and Pakistan in 1965 was a clash of titans, pitting the Indian Air Force's nimble Nat fighters against the Pakistan Air Force's formidable F-86 Sabre jets. This conflict marked a significant chapter in the history of aerial combat, showcasing the strategic and tactical prowess of both nations' air forces. The Nats, though smaller and less powerful than the Sabres, proved to be surprisingly effective, earning the moniker Sabre Slayer for their agility and maneuverability. Their compact size and lightweight design allowed them to outmaneuver the larger Sabres in dogfights, turning their perceived weaknesses into strengths. One of the most celebrated air battles of the war took place over Sargodha, a key PAF airbase. This battle became a defining moment in the conflict, highlighting the strategic importance of air superiority and the bravery of the pilots involved. IAF squadron leader Trevor Keeler, piloting a Nat, shot down a Pakistani F-86 Sabre, marking the first air-to-air kill of the war for India. This victory not only boosted the morale of the Indian Air Force, but also demonstrated the effectiveness of the Nat in combat situations. The IAF's Nats played a crucial role in blunting the PAF's offensive capabilities, providing vital air cover to Indian ground troops. Their presence in the skies ensured that Indian forces could operate with a degree of security, knowing that the Nats were there to protect them from aerial threats. The PAF, however, also had its share of successes, utilizing its superior firepower and experienced pilots to inflict losses on the IAF. The Sabres, with their advanced weaponry and robust design, proved to be formidable adversaries capable of holding their own against the nimble Nats. The air war over the skies of Punjab and Kashmir was a testament to the skill and bravery of both sides, with each air force demonstrating its capabilities in intense aerial engagements. These dogfights were not just about firepower, but also about the pilot's ability to outthink and outmaneuver their opponents. The 1965 air war highlighted the importance of air power in modern warfare. It underscored how control of the skies could influence the outcome of ground battles and the overall direction of the conflict. It also showcased the strategic significance of pilot training, tactical innovation, and technological prowess in determining the outcome of aerial engagements. The lessons learned from this conflict would go on to shape the future of air combat strategies and the development of fighter aircraft in the years to come.